Welcome, everybody, to another awesome episode of Harm's Way Podcast. With me, as always, we'll start with me first. This is Craig, your host, as always. Across from me, my brother, Eric. And then we have a special guest today, my brother-in-law, Mitch. Mitch, what's going on?
Oh, not much. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here.
Great recovery.
No, that was weird. It's going to feel weird. It's going to still take me some time to get used to that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I feel like my best intros were in the beginning, and most people would warm up and get better with intros over time. And it's me. I'm just not that guy, apparently. But yeah, well, I'll try better next time. All right.
I think you need an intro that you stick with every time. I like the welcome that you were doing.
Yeah. Well, that's the comfortable place, but I immediately look at Eric, and I'm like, okay, let me introduce Eric. And then I forgot to say, hey, it's your host, Craig, you know. But fuck it, whatever. I've had one beer. All right. Special topics for today. We want to get down to the nitty-gritty of this because this is the first show we've done this week. Eric and I recently moved to the weekend doing, just the Friday, Sunday show. And, of course, this Friday we skipped it because I had scheduling issues. So, my bad. I want to start today off with well, first, let's talk about our first reported TikTok.
Oh, that?
we were going good with all the TikToks, and a bunch of the ones that I thought would get reported.
That makes me wonder, though, did it get reported, or did TikTok just not allow it?
I don't know. It could have gotten flagged from the name.
It's got to get reported.
Does it get reported? Yeah. Okay, somebody full-on reported our bit about Joel Osteen. And that hurts me deep. That cuts really deep. No, but I reposted
well, it makes you wonder,
so
like, who the only people that support him are, like, gullible old people. So, and I know none of them are using TikTok. So
that's a good point.
So,
what'd you
maybe it was a random. He did title it "Fuck You, Joel."
I did title it "Fuck You."
So it might have drawn negative attention from that.
What you've got to do then is take that text, that F-U-C-K, and put an asterisk where the U is, or like a penny sign where the
I changed it to
something.
duck.
I've done that on YouTube.
I changed it to "Duck You, Joel."
That'll work.
I 100% should have done.
That's how I avoid
said.
getting reported in the comments on TikTok.
I've done that on a few.
I change it. I'll call someone an asshole or something. I'll use an ampersand sign for the A or whatever.
And why Mitch is a special guest for you guys today is because Mitch is the most awesomest person to argue with online, and throughout the comments of social media, it is just fucking gold. Because you have a special superpower. He finds the biggest, dumbest, stupidest motherfucker with absolutely zero logic behind their comments or arguments, and he just destroys them with the littlest effort there is. Like, how do you do it?
I can think of one person that, if he got into it with Mitch online, it would, like, break this time-space continuum. It'd be like putting two mirrors up to each other. The image would go on forever, and then I would be afraid for my life.
Yeah. The consequence of that, though, is the bans. I think my next Facebook ban is
ban
3 months.
That's cool.
And my next TikTok ban is permanent.
Permanent?
Oh,
yeah.
So you're already, like, on the
So
scale.
I'm on the
toe the
threshold.
line.
Yeah. That's why I'm getting inventive with the curses on TikTok.
That's fair.
Because you can't report somebody if I call you a dick. You can report it. If I call you a D1CK, you can't report it because I didn't call you nothing.
And that's got to make the other person so much more fucking angry too. Like, oh, I can't even get him with that because I don't know. You can physically report on TikTok?
Yeah.
But if they report and it goes to the community standards and they look at your shit and they're like, oh, he's literally censoring himself. What can we do? And then they allow it. It's gotta fucking drive somebody crazy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's a superpower. It's fucking cool. It's fun to watch. I'll read 684 comments just of him going at some weird boomer online that has no fucking idea what they're doing. It's gold, Eric. Oh my god. But yeah, so that's a milestone for us because we knew we were going to piss people off. I did not know that it would take this long, and I did not know that it would be attacking the Donald Trump of the evangelistic world,
right?
Like, which is, I mean, that's a pretty good analogy when you think about it. Joel Osteen is a dirty, dirty man.
I think so.
But back to your point, I think if you titled the TikTok itself and had the word
Probably,
fuck in there,
yeah.
it might have auto got
good.
flagged.
Searched it, but I changed it with the D, and then upload it, and then I actually watched it, and it was an okay clip. We really didn't say anything too bad in it, so it would have. I think it would have had to be a title.
It was
You could
well
say-
deserved.
You could
Yeah,
say what you
deserved.
want, you just can't put it in the text.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's some good ones that I
There's
just put
certain
up
words
today.
in
It
there.
makes me wonder, though, even with YouTube, a lot of rules, a lot of shit's subjective. I still don't know how they do it. Is there somebody watching it? Because like with
Or an
with
algorithm
Twitter,
that
it was
it gets run through, yeah. I cannot
with
believe
Twitter,
there's
a lot of
person
it-
behind these.
No,
with
there's
Twitter
too
it
much
was
shit.
though, wasn't it? It was a lot of people fucking. Or they were shit was getting flagged by the
No, I
community,
think that was
and
an
then
out-
they were reviewing it. I don't know, but like YouTube, there's so much content, so
I think
much
once
footage.
a keyword
uploaded.
gets put up, that's what triggers shit to start searching it. And that might get kicked to the people upstairs that actually have to physically watch it. You know, like, oh, okay, now that is bad.
Have either of you heard about how late? This was recent. YouTube like upped their game on the whole cursing in videos and whatnot. Because it used to be you can
You mean
curse.
like catching it?
It used to be you can curse in videos and whatnot and wouldn't get monetized. And then we went into an era where cursing in videos could get you demonetized, and now they've like ratcheted it up a notch, and it's like you can't curse in the first 18 seconds or something.
Or else that dings you.
Yeah. And then but there's been evidence that shows that it's not 18 seconds, it's the first 5 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I
So
don't
that's
know.
putting people at a severe disadvantage when you're making
Well,
YouTube
what happens is
content.
you have people that are very popular on YouTube, and they've gotten into this. They've gotten into this groove where they're actually making a lot of money off their videos, right?
What's the...
And then all of a sudden the rules change, and it's like, boom, your income's gone overnight.
Yeah, or severely
If they
handicapped.
retroactively apply it to old videos.
They do
All
that,
that.
too. Yeah.
then your
suck.
royalties or whatever you get from shit. Now, what I assume...
Twitch,
Twitch is doing it now?
that kind of phenomenon of them changing the rules and then just retroactively fucking a lot of people, that's happened on Twitch too.
See, what got me about Twitch was Twitch's community standards were extremely broad. I read them.
With the number of people streaming Call of Duty, I can't believe that their
Oh, yeah.
Twitch is that restrictive.
And well, that's what I mean. I don't know if it's
Actually, that's-
restrictive or if it's
I've
broad.
seen people playing Call of Duty on Twitch and they kill somebody, and you know how toxic Call of Duty players are. You get that momentary comms when you kill
Oh,
somebody,
yeah.
and they would say stuff that would get you banned, and then boom,
Fuck
that
your mother.
that
Yeah.
guy's live stream is cut off. Or
So
whatever.
they have to go in and actually, it's not even their voice, it's just what they're picking up through their mic. They have to edit that. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, again,
There's
you learn new words playing Call of
People
Duty and
making
hearing the
shit up.
comms and stuff. Like it's
I-
like working with Canadians.
There was a
And, like,
brief time where my old buddy and I were playing the I think it was the 2017 Call of Duty
Oh yeah, yeah.
online, and it's only a matter of time before the N word comes out.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
what,
no,
that's
yeah.
what I was driving at.
It's only a matter of time.
The racial
Like,
slurs and shit.
You know,
which I think that's what these rules are designed to.
we're
weed
3/4
out.
of a way through a match. Everything's fine. Everybody's hunky dory, dying left and right. Cool. We're having fun. And then it's just,
Yeah.
just incredible. Yeah. So like Mitch said, if you're streaming, then that shit comes up. Like, yeah, you're just fucked.
Yeah, and streaming.
And
would be
there are
difficult
people.
'cause you can't edit
There are
it.
people out there that live to troll streamers by
Yeah.
doing shit like that too. So
Well, and then they make their own streaming channel. The one guy got super famous because he would seek out Dr. Disrespect and Tim the Tap Man.
Oh,
and he would find these
I remember
guys,
him.
and he was like, "Oh, I'm just as good as them, but I have a 16th of the following. Watch me find them and fuck them up." And then he does, and then a couple months later, the guy's got just as many followers, and now he turned into them. So his whole message of these big time streamers, I'm gonna show them that an average guy can be just as good. And then months later, he's no longer an average guy. He's a sponsored fucking Call of Duty player.
Wow.
He kind of became what you hated,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Right.
so this whole social media thing, OnlyFans, stuff like that. I'm not to dip into the scandalous side, but
social media.
it's making a lot of people that like shouldn't. It's basically slapping Darwin in the face. And it's making a lot of people that shouldn't be famous and rich, famous and fucking rich.
Yeah.
Like, people that have no adaptable skills in the real world. Like, if the apocalypse happened tomorrow, you think influencers and streamers are going to fucking survive?
I'm still
dude?
curious. I'm
They're
still
not.
curious what like waving my dick in front of the camera would get me on OnlyFans.
Probably call the cops. I don't know. Like,
What? $49.99 a month.
just a weird bend in it. I don't know. No,
Can you set your own price on there?
I
Set it
thought
at 99 cents.
There's a max. There's a min. I think there's a minimum too.
I don't know, man.
But I saw something the other day that said like it was the average monthly income on OnlyFans
It's actually pretty.
was
low.
only like $120.
Yeah, it's because you're taking
$4.99.
Is the minimum?
you're taking, the outliers are the ones that you're hearing about. The people that are making millions of dollars a month and whatever. You hear about them. You don't hear about the 900,000 people that are only making $4.99 a month. That ain't shit. But what I want, where's the curve with the feet pics? That's what I want to know. Because you have.
If we charge $5 a month to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, we'd have what do we got? 14 subscribers. We'd be almost $100.
Yeah, without showing our dicks or feet.
Exactly. There we go.
I think people are using OnlyFans incorrectly. It's strictly almost 100% porn or nudity.
Now, but what it was designed for was how-to videos, right?
I don't know, but imagine a dude that had an OnlyFans and all it was him grilling and sharing recipes and stuff like that. The amount that he would get from the subscriptions has got to be better than things like Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that.
You're right. It wasn't
Well, that's
originally
sponsorship.
intended to be like an adult content site. It was meant to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There was
how-tos and stuff, I thought.
Remember when, I don't know if Tyler Posey was trolling or whatnot, but remember he did the video where he was naked with the guitar sitting on his lap and
Yeah.
whatnot?
Sad I know that.
Yeah, it wasn't originally geared towards adult content. It was for entertainment. So
It got twisted
if you were
right away.
So it was supposed to be like a one-stop shop vehicle for let's say you're a great singer and you just hadn't got discovered or something like that. You could sing, you can make your own music and all that. You can
Even
do
if you were famous,
you
dude,
can
behind the scenes jam sessions and stuff. Oh my god!
it provided that
the VIP content.
Yeah.
it provided that pre-made paywall to allow you to monetize your talent or whatnot. So you could have a guy doing magic tricks or some shit, and it's
So what's the difference between that and Patreon?
Maybe Patreon was for donations, right?
I have no idea.
I
It'd be the
think
same premise, though, wouldn't it? So why
because
did...
YouTube's big thing is ad revenue, right?
Okay, yeah.
So an ad revenue, if your video's not getting a lot of views or something like that, you're kind of just betting on ad revenue. Whereas, as far as cash flow, OnlyFans, like I said, you have a magician who's really good and whatnot, really cool, very entertaining to watch.
He puts his shit on OnlyFans.
He puts his shit on OnlyFans for $5 a month, dirt cheap, and racks up 1,000 subscribers or something like that because they really like watching his videos. They think this guy, he's
worth $5,
he's inventing new tricks or maybe talking people through the process and stuff getting really in depth with it. It provided that pre-made paywall for you to be able to monetize your shit and have a little more control over your cash flow rather than relying on YouTube with the ad revenue and also YouTube takes half right off the top and then you pretty much have to pay another half because you're a contractor.
I wish I came up with you.
So that kind of thing. And OnlyFans only takes 20%.
So who was the first one to start putting their picture of their butthole and stuff on?
So this says that Patreon was started 9 years ago, and OnlyFans only 7 years ago. So Patreon was first. So what I was saying about grill or dad advice, shit like that, probably more geared toward Patreon. And then it sounds like OnlyFans took that and just took the one subset, which is adult content, and ran with that.
Okay, so
You
trying to
also get-
localize it.
You also get a lot of people Patreon was just another way to monetize your your content because people would donate, right? You get one person watches your video and really likes your video. Well, you only got one view off of that, so God knows whatever that translates into ad revenue, which is a tenth of a penny or something.
Right.
Patreon, you have a lot of people out there that are I really like what this guy's doing. $50.
Oh, okay. So it's not exactly...
Or subscribe
It is.
monthly,
Yeah, exactly.
and they get all the content.
So
You
Patreon.
can set up tier. I think on Patreon you set up tiers.
Yeah, Patreon
And-
and Twitch
Yeah.
are more along the lines of closer together, but Twitch is being used for something different. Patreon, I think, is getting used for kind of an all of the above because I have seen adult entertaining porn
Yeah.
stars, if you will, list their Patreon on stuff.
But not
Oh,
guns.
really?
Yeah, but not guns.
So that's another thing. You have Patreon, they do their whole thing, and then there's certain content that you can have on YouTube. You'll get demonetized, like guns.
Really?
Buttholes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've cracked down on stuff
Yeah.
like that.
If you reload a gun on a video, they'll demonetize the video.
But if you have,
What
you
if
have
you
to have the
shoot?
right sponsorship and stuff.
I
for
think
You
that
shoot,
stuff
and that's
too.
okay?
Actually, well, I take that back.
Range-
I've heard
yeah.
you can have video, you can have guns displayed in a video, and you'll be fine. If you handle the firearm, it'll get demonetized. But I've also heard
That's ridiculous.
another video I was watching, or it was a YouTube short. The guy was making fun of their rules. He was shooting, and then he was like, "All right, let me show you how to reload." Oh wait, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really
See, a lot of
really-
those guys, like,
But
they've, like, Hickok 45, like, he's one of the most well-known YouTube gun reviewers. Hickok 45, I said that right? Yeah. And then to the point where his son grew up and started doing the same shit. And they both,
he's probably got a lot of other methods.
But
to
he-
recruit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's also all that ammo he shoots.
well, he
He's
gets
sponsored.
Yeah, he's got so many sponsors, and then like Glock is one of his biggest sponsors because he's a giant Glock fanatic. But he's also, I don't know, he's like one of the OG. How many followers you got?
7.21 million.
Yeah, so and to me that's a significant
And
amount.
he's
To me, anything over
verified
a
or whatever,
million-
and his whole thing is guns, so...
That's what I mean. I don't know. I would love to know if he's making money off
Now,
that stuff still
see,
because he's
maybe
got to be
not.
Here's
against
the
it.
question though: with 7.21 million subscribers, it
At what
makes me
point?
wonder: has he passed the point where YouTube will look the other way
That's
because
what I
that's a
mean.
shitload of ad
Is he
revenue, right?
untouchable?
Because you gotta think about ad revenue. Yeah, you're getting a penny for every view because of the ad that's on your video. The advertiser's paying YouTube how much?
Yeah. And
Right.
the sponsorships he's getting are real life
So there's
sponsors
that.
that are
There's
active
that
now.
to consider too. And
And if he's got seven point whatever million subscribers,
7.22 now.
so
I
he's
just
over.
subscribed.
He's probably over 1 million views. You just subscribe. He's probably
It
over
looks
1 million
cool.
views everything he posts.
his videos
everything.
are great. They just tend to run a little long.
Oh, they're always They're
Like,
fucking,
I would-
but they're
I-
informational too.
I used to pull his videos up when I'd come home from work. I'd pull one up and just put it on when I was like,
He
whatever.
does tend to trail off, like if he's doing like a M1 Grand or something. He's like, "Now my grandfather," and he just gets into these
Yeah.
long fucking tangent stories and stuff. But he does have a lot of good information that he passes on. He tries to not be biased on some stuff too. A lot of gun reviewing people that do that stuff, you can tell how absolute bias and painful their shit is to watch. There's one guy, I think he's like bald, long red beard. I forget what the fuck his name is, but he's ranked up there too. His videos are so painful to watch because he shits on any gun manufacturer that sells a gun under $1,000. So he's all of the high dollar guys because he can afford them, and he kind of throws his wealth in your face when he reviews them. And I can't remember his
Could be.
channel, but it's bad.
Sponsored by them or something
He-
too, some bullshit.
And
with
he
them.
could, but his channel's kind of a little backwoods, great value esque. Like it's
That's
not.
something
He doesn't
we-
really put very much effort into his shit, but he has a decent
We
following.
talked about that the other day though about them not disclosing who they're sponsored by and whatnot. Or like
Some of the times
putting
they're
up
not allowed
review
to.
videos and not disclosing that you're actually the tool review
Yeah,
shit. You know, doing a review of some Milwaukee tool, but not disclosing on the video
because you may or may not be
that you were
sponsored.
paid to do
Yeah.
that review.
Well, there was a lawsuit about that. The Kardashians got sued, and they had to start putting. You'll notice in a lot of like, especially TikTok, they'll put hashtag ad and then hashtag sponsored. They have to put those in there now.
Yeah.
If they were sponsored by somebody to do that to make that
Yeah.
video.
And you'll see on YouTube videos there'll be a little banner. in the
That's a
corner or
weird
something that says
precedent, though. The fucking
paid sponsor. Or
Oh, okay.
Paid something.
Yeah.
Paid
I don't fuck
endorsement.
with YouTube much, so I'm not.
it's. I feel like
But then you
it's still my staple for like something. Like I use YouTube for reviews, so I'm the weird millennial that if I'm gonna buy something, right to YouTube for reviews. I want to look at how it functions, what it's doing, the pros and cons, and sadly, instead, I read Google reviews and shit too. But YouTube, 9 times out of 10, is where I go first.
I get so annoyed when I look something up. Just an example, how to change the air filter in your furnace or something.
Yeah.
And the first 10 results are all YouTube videos. I don't want to open up the YouTube app and then wait for like a fucking ad to load.
Yeah.
Just give me like a WikiHow. Like WikiHow is a good website
See,
because you get pictures and text.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch somebody's fucking video.
That's the thing. Like I feel like that way on mobile.
Yeah.
Like I'm at work and I try to look something up and YouTube's blocked because company or I can't hear because it's a loud environment and whatnot. So yeah, like a WikiHow would be a lot better. But when I'm sitting at the desk, like that's like the gold standard for me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
You can get
a lot of shit related to this podcast.
Maybe I'm just on my
I
phone
watched a
too
lot of
much.
YouTube videos to figure out what to do.
You can get lost in YouTube regardless if you're bored or if you're trying to find something. It's funny because one of my old jobs, dealing with garage doors, you ran into a lot of situations where I wasn't trained. The training wasn't the best. So when I ran into situations dealing with genies or something, because genies weren't our forte, we did not have training on genies. Anything I know how to program genies, which you've seen and he's seen too, because I've helped him with his shit, is because of YouTube. I've literally been in someone's garage fixing their shit for a service call fee or something, and had to open YouTube and do how do I program, a Genie CT 2300 or whatever, and that's not a real fucking one, but or how do I program limits on this newer Genie, and then that's what I had to do. So YouTube saved me.
I had a friend
lot.
tell me one time that he literally learned how to ride a motorcycle from watching YouTube videos. So it
That's
is a
crazy.
great tool.
It's a resource. It's a giant
Yeah.
resource.
If you're seeking out knowledge, it's a great resource to have.
But you have to. I agree with you guys. You have to sift through a lot of bullshit
Really
when
shows,
finding specific stuff.
It really shows the combined might of the existing internet as far as information goes. But when you're on the other end of that and you're trying to create content, it's like a fucking minefield.
That's what I don't know these top grossing YouTubers, or to be able to call yourself a YouTuber and shit. Like, I don't know what their mix, like how they're making millions of dollars off you. Other than that Ryan kid, that one's kind of cool. That's like the wholesome. But at some point you're like, oh, how much of that is his parents? And he's like he started out as like a $3.4 million grosser or whatever off of YouTube, just doing like toy reviews for kids. Yeah. It's really sweet.
So the gold standard though is Mr. Beast. Right?
Mr. Beast has got to be.
I saw a video where he explained, because somebody asked him, I want to say it was Joe Rogan, I don't remember. Somebody had him on and asked him, like, how the fuck, how many subscribers do you have? And he said, well, just my channel or all my channels? And the guy was like, you have other channels? He said, yeah, absolutely. He said, my main channel is in English, but 90% of the world doesn't speak English. So I have a Portuguese channel, I have a Spanish channel. And the guy was like, oh my god, that's such a simple idea, and it's so smart. Once you get so big, do other languages.
He started dubbing stuff.
They've dubbed in, and he said his Spanish language channel is the biggest one he has.
Yeah, huge.
And we
Massive.
have never seen it in our lives.
No, we never watched those videos. But he also has, where he dips into his friends too, guys that he brought up with him. They kind of branched off and do their own shit too, and he has not really rights, but he's getting something off of that. The one is he brought his one friend, which is technically, if you take his group, the Mr. Beast crew, it's his most popular friend, and I forget the guy's name, but maybe it was Chandler. Chandler sounds like, but because Charlie's just at the age where he's starting to watch the shit out of Mr. Beast stuff. Chandler just happened to have like 4 million subscribers or something add on in like a month. And Mr. Beast was like, or whatever, I keep forgetting his fucking name. He's like, why don't you jump off and do your own thing, and you can be on our stuff, but also do your own, see where it takes you. And he fucking blew up for a little bit. So he was making his own sustainable income. How much he was giving back to Mr. Beast, I don't know. It might have been something that he had, written. But each person in his crew runs their own shit too.
Now,
and then they contribute with his content.
This was like 10 years ago, but I had a friend who was really big into YouTube, had his own channel. His goal was to make YouTube his full-time job. And I remember he kind of like broke it down. He had a rule of thumb where he was getting about $1 for every 1,000 views on a video.
Yes.
So I've kind of always used that as again, it's 10 years later. Shit's different.
He came close too. The friend that I'm thinking about, right? He came like he had.
Yeah, he was the one.
He
He had gotten up to. I mean, I think.
Just doing crazy like jackassery kind of stuff too.
Well, it wasn't that. He
But
he had channels about video games.
He had
and
some
stuff
good
like
content.
That. He was a big Call of Duty player.
There's more of a jack of all trades.
But anyway,
kind of
he got up to the point where he was getting like $400 a month or something like that. So he was well on his way there. But I've kind of used that rule. So anytime I see a video that's been up for a day and it's got 1.5 million views, I always look at it like, okay, that guy made probably about $1,500 off that video.
Yeah.
So once you get to that point where, and you know a lot of YouTubers that sling a video up there and it just gets
Well, because you have that.
the first week it's up, they're getting millions of views. And it's like,
You
just
then
slinging a
fart
video
into the
up
fucking
there.
microphone and then make a mint off of it.
Piano Cat.
You know?
Piano Cat made, $300,000 or whatever
There's
within
a
the first
point
couple
where
months.
you make a 10-minute
it's a
video,
cat.
you sling it up there, you got 2 million views, and it's like, okay, you just made $2,000. So
Because you gotta realize, if let's say you have 1 million subscribers, when you post a video, that's 1 million people that are getting an update that you posted said video, right? Because I get updates on my favorite people that I subscribe to on my personal account, not on our account here. I try and keep that small, but my personal account, Donut Operator, stuff like that, I get updates when he posts a video.
well, he's one of the ones I was thinking of. Like he slings a video up there, and it's like 3 million views.
But
in
when
3
you
days.
have, let's say you have 1 million views,
Would
you
you
get
say
all
Donut
those
Operator?
updates.
yeah,
Yeah, he
Is that
does the
the-
cop reviews, the police shootings and stuff like that.
Because there's Donut Media, the car guys or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
I
This
like
is
know who you're
guys.
talking about.
Yeah.
Are
This-
they related?
I don't think so. See,
Okay.
Donut has Donut Operator, and then he has Donut After Dark or something, which that's not on YouTube. That everything on YouTube's is blurred stuff. But he has Patreon, Twitch. He does some stuff because he does gaming too. He actually games with Dr. Disrespect and guys. He's in Houston, so he's around all those guys. But he's also around the Colin Noir. The AK guy, Brandon Vera,
Brandon Herrera.
Brandon Vera too probably.
Herrera, skateboarder?
No, this is the AK guy. He's you gotta look him up.
Brandon
He's-
started a company making AKs.
but they're all the gun guys. The former they serve former soldiers turned media moguls or social media moguls. They all are from like the Houston
Eric
area.
Herrera is the skateboarder.
Yeah, Eric. We know him from Tony Hawk Underground.
I don't remember him.
No.
No.
But yeah, he's a good one. So like when he posts, I get shit. The fishing guy, fuck, I forget his name too. A lot of the guys that I subscribe to.
Milliken?
Yeah, Milliken. I've actually bought his merch. I like his shit. He's the one that turned me on to 6 Sense lures and rods and stuff. He's a big one. Started out real small. He got to the point where he was making enough to quit his job because he worked some boring ass office job, and then he just wanted to fish full time. Got done with that, and then he blew up. And then now he made a partnership with 6 Sense where he gets kickbacks from all that stuff, and then he just living the dream. Out in Nebraska, he bought a property with like 3 different ponds on it, and he stocks them. Guy's just living the
I meant to make a correction. The other day I was talking about Rumble. Dave Rubin didn't start Rumble. Dave Rubin started Locals, which was basically it. It was another like pre-made paywall to monetize your content.
But you said Rumble's getting weird now too, though, right?
No,
Oh,
I'm not sure. But anyway, Dave's
up in the air.
Dave
TBD.
Dave started Locals, and then I think he sold it to Rumble.
Okay.
It was a different guy who started Rumble. Rumble was started as an alternative to YouTube, and from what I'm hearing, Rumble apparently is way more lax.
For now.
They're not as crazy, but they're owned by Google. It's weird. They're owned by Google, and so is YouTube. So I don't fucking know how all this shit works, but yeah.
So not
I thought-
technically Google though. Alphabet owns Google, and then all the subsidiaries.
yeah.
so.
Yeah. But I said that Dave Rubin
But we know what you mean
started
when
Rumble.
you say Google owns somebody.
Yeah, I was wrong. He started Locals, and then Locals got sold to Rumble.
So what's the other one that you said that you wrote on your hand that day?
Utreon.
Utreon. You heard Utreon yet?
That sounds like a Uruguayan fucking Patreon.
Sounds like the next Avengers villain. But
That's where you're gonna find Mr. Beast's Hispanic fucking dub shit. But Utreon.
I found out about Utreon because of Ian from Forgotten Weapons. You know, he does a lot of the historical reviews. He'll even tear them down, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
But his is like, he's a gun channel, but it's very educational and historical context to it.
Yeah.
He has been facing like the kind of the boot from YouTube over his content, and it's very frustrating to him because, you know, there's no malicious intent there, but he's still kind of facing the ramifications. So he did a video the other day about Utreon and about how could be kind of a safe haven for people who want to, you know, have their video content be about
Refugees fleeing YouTube.
and apparently Utreon's been around for like 10 years.
Nothing's
The
really
problem
ever
with that,
gonna
though,
touch
is
YouTube.
if you provide like a safe haven for gun channels and shit, you're gonna end up bringing fucking crazies over too.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna get squashed by the bigger.
But you're not going to
corporations
you're not going to bring enough people to have sustainable
That's the
income.
biggest-
I don't think.
That's the biggest thing is traffic.
YouTube is the safe place for people to come watch.
It's
not
first-
necessarily for people to come.
It's first in, best
Post.
dressed. Anybody
Yeah.
that's like just starting to use the internet, you know, younger people and whatnot, they're gonna go to YouTube.
Well, it's that it's an app available for any platform of fun. Like, does Rumble have an app, or like does Utreon have
I
an
think so.
app? Probably,
Utreon does
but
have
like,
an app, yeah.
not many people are going to know about it. Everyone knows YouTube. I can access YouTube from almost, you know, multiple things in each room of my house. You know,
Yeah, it's like
You
built
can
in,
do that
it's
with
built
the other
into
things,
smart
too.
TVs
Oh,
and shit
yeah.
like that. Yeah,
you,
that's why I said
you-
first in, best dressed, right?
Yeah. Well, probably because they got a fucking contract with everybody. Hisense, fucking Samsung, Roku. It's all fucking.
And
Yeah.
copying that portion of the name, Patreon, Utreon, like it's
Yeah.
clear you're just a rip off, and it's always gonna be second best, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Well, it depends on us, but there's hundreds of millions of people
There is.
that are
The market's open. Don't get me wrong. I'm
going
not
wherever
saying
they want, right?
I'm not saying that you can't. I'm saying you're not going to right away, and it's going to be a challenge
Okay, one more.
because there is a lot of people. Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of consumers that are out there wanting to consume content, good or bad. Thank you. But yeah. All right. So let's move on to our next topic while we have enough time, because this is kind of a big one. We started off dabbling on the OnlyFans facet of this, but Eric brought up a good point earlier, talking about his addiction. Just kidding. We all are addicted.
Wonderful.
Is porn good or bad? Or is it art? Is it an art form? Or is it, for lack of a better term, smut? I feel old as fuck saying smut like that, but I mean,
Yeah, smut is so underutilized.
the smut rags.
What made you think of this as a topic? What conversation were you having? Is it because you live with your grandma?
So, yeah, 100%. No,
Well,
the smut, maybe.
Did you get busted?
it's because so
Not by her daughter.
I watch a lot of
A long
YouTube
time
shorts.
ago.
Watch a lot of YouTube shorts,
Okay?
you know, and watch a lot of non-YouTube shorts, like regular videos and shit like that. I'm on YouTube a lot.
Okay, yeah.
There's usually something. I have my usual suspects that I follow for news and what have you. But one topic that I'm seeing bounced around a lot
It is talked about a lot, yes.
is porn. Is it bad? Is it damaging?
Does it rot the brain? What does it
People
do?
get addicted to it. Like what is it? What does it do to you? And I thought, well, why do we have this? Well, porn was apparently protected as art or
form.
free speech or something.
Yes.
So I thought it'd be a good topic of discussion of really, is it really? You know, first off, so like, is porn art?
I think there's an easy answer to that. To delineate between art and smut, or like true porn.
Yeah.
And that is penetration. If you have penetration, you've crossed the line into smut or true porn. If you don't, it's more artistic.
You know what?
Interesting.
That's a really good answer, Mitch.
That's
Holy
what I'm here
shit.
for.
I never the
Nothing
inside answer, pun
Genius
intended.
answers.
But the yeah, that's
So,
actually
that stuff you saw
'Cause you celebrate
on
the
late night
body.
TV on Cinemax when you were young.
the fuzzy
The
porn.
soft core, you could tell there was no actual penetration. That's more artistic, I feel.
You know,
Just like weird
I
dance.
think I have to agree because I
No,
tried
that's
to. I
hard to
tried to
argue.
think about this. I tried to think about this, and like I asked myself, I was like, "What is art?" So art is kind of like representation of the human condition. You're basically taking all the creativity and the things you can't teach people, the creativity and the talent, and you're transferring it into something that we can all see, appreciate, and enjoy. Really kind of drawing out almost like the human soul, right? And I think like love and passion and all that fall under that,
Romance.
right? So you can have a depiction, if you will, of love and passion and that sort of thing. Kind of like how Mitch was saying, pre-penetration. You can have something that's like a representation of that human condition, and it still be considered art. But then there's a
tongue
point.
punch and fart boxes. You've crossed the line.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think you're onto something.
I think you bring up a very good point. I think I'll play devil's advocate a little bit because the Vanguard. I think if you take art and you take an avant-garde kind of look at art,
I don't
which
know
is
what
the
avant-garde means.
avant-garde is like the crazy, over the top, like artists throwing blood on themselves and then smashing themselves against the canvas, like that kind of crazy shit that gets you like, oh, is it art or is it fucking murder? Like, I don't know. I think
Basically, if you don't understand the art, you're like, oh, that's
art. Yeah, that's the Jackson Pollock,
shit
if
like
you
that.
will. But that's not even really avant-garde. But so if you take that, I think that would equal the penetration because anybody, if you could just take, a P and a V.
I guess you could make a case for
the crazy
some
side.
art containing penetration because it has crossed that line into like
Avant-garde. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what
okay.
I think of. I think your point is 100% spot on if you take the softcore where it's no penetration and I think this is the most I've ever used the term penetration, but it's more of celebrating the body
Well, you're
and
married.
like the beauty. Yeah, that's true. Which means it's more like just, I'm not going to get into that. But you're celebrating more of the body and the aesthetically pleasing look of the sleek titties.
Because without the penetration, you're telling the story of, like
And
you
there's-
said, the
yeah.
human condition, the romance.
Yeah,
things like
and then if
that.
you take the other side of it, the Andy Warhol, Jackson Pollock, crazy, fucking off the wall kind of stuff would be like the penetration. Maybe not the tongue punching and stuff like that, but because I do think there are aspects of porn that absolutely could not be considered art no matter what you do. But as far as just
I feel like someday we're gonna reach an audience and there's an artist who's like, I take that as a challenge.
fuck it, I'm gonna fuck some sheep and call it art, like show the penetration and everything. Like bestiality, like obviously penetration or not, that I don't think is art. I think that's just wrong.
So with some caveats, we're in agreement on the.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's
but that doesn't answer
what
the question.
you
Is
said,
it good
though,
or bad?
is like-
well, the
I'm
good
just-
or bad, we'll take that to the next one. But yeah,
My mind is just churning because
About
from,
the what?
from Mitch's original statement, like I'm
well, you're on the
really,
fence
I'm really gaining a better understanding of what art is. Actually,
through a porn conversation. No, that's fair. That's good.
no, because I'm starting to think.
I
I'm
like
thinking
when
about-
we do thinkers.
I'm thinking all of like the bad and stupid and weird shit that like artists do and whatnot. And he's like, does that qualify?
You're thinking of like the Van Gogh, like cutting his ear off, doing crazy shit, calling it art, like that stuff, right?
No, I'm
Okay.
thinking about the one thing I was thinking about was when they tape that banana to the wall. I was like, yeah, I guess that's the human condition because it reminds me I got to go to the grocery store. I only have $13 in my account.
Stupid shit.
So
Yeah,
the
like
struggles of life.
it's crazy what gets accepted as art.
Yeah, but I still.
But when you
always-
think about it, art is such a broad spectrum that one person, art is perception to me. If you put something up there and I perceive it differently than 99% of the population, then to me it's art. To them it's something else, and it could be
I should have worn my
anything.
turtleneck.
There's
I didn't
definitely
think about that.
there's definitely people who in the past have taken advantage of what art is.
Oh, 100%,
right? Some
yeah,
lazy
yeah.
ass painter just drew a fucking blue stripe on a blank canvas,
Boom,
and
money.
got his shit in a gallery or something, and everyone's like, "Oh man, it really makes me think." But then you're like, "Well, shit, isn't that what art is meant to do? Is make you think."
Yeah.
If all I put was a blue fucking stripe, but it makes you think like your fucking childhood, then mission accomplished.
Exactly. It's a weird. It's a weird wormhole that you can go down. It's like painting some ugly Greek chick and calling it the Mona Lisa. Like, you know, it's a fucking art, or was
Pretty sure she was French.
quiet you. So yeah, it's I think the beauty of art is perception. Now to stack it up with porn, that's a good thinking topic. I like that one that gets the fucking blood flowing, for lack of a better term. But I think it's to me, my answer would be yes and no. It'd be yes on the spectrum that you brought up, and then it would be, or vice versa, however I got that flipped. And I think it's one of those things, if you squint hard enough, anything can be art. Whether it be
That's
the
why I've heard about
avant-garde, the
slippery
crazy. Yeah. Now, the good and bad. I will agree with you. Porn over time can be bad. It can be...
Yeah, I think it's extremely damaging to people.
It can be, and it's weird the situations that can happen too, because of, for men, for us, porn is going to be bad in different ways than it would be for a woman. Porn for us can ruin our perception of a healthy sexual relationship
Oh yeah.
with an adult female
Yeah.
or male. I mean, you can open this up to anybody, or female to female, or male to male, however you want. Porn can basically rot your brain when it comes to perceptions and how you handle sexual encounters, you know, because there's situations where you might be, you know, having sex with your significant other, and you start throwing out, you know, moves that you've only seen on Brazzers or whatever. It's
just proper research.
Well, now our wives are a little different. They would know that's where it came from. But like somebody else might think like, okay,
I'm uncomfortable.
whose hair is he? And this is the point where Eric gets uncomfortable. Whose hair is he pulling? You know, because he's never tried that shit before in however long we've been together. And also, it does create an unrealistic sense of, I don't know how you would say it, for men. An unrealistic expectation, maybe? Unrealistic, I don't know how to really finish that. But
So I think that the perception that porn is damaging to specifically men is probably related to like the online age where the accessibility has ramped up.
oh yeah, anybody can.
Right? You
yeah.
can hop online and you can find a fucking porn video in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's true, right? And this one instance is kind of what made me rethink that a little bit. Is remember my old neighbor who passed away
Yes.
at the old house.
Yes.
And I went to go help his widow clear some stuff out, and I don't know if you remember, I sold a couple guns that she had found in the gun safe, and I bought the gun safe from her and stuff like that, because she was struggling to pay bills and stuff, so I was just trying to help where I could.
Yeah.
While I was cleaning out the basement, I found the world's largest box of porn.
Okay.
And I
Like
was
in what form? Like magazines or
VHS.
VHS? All
Old
right.
school. OG.
Literally,
Call it
if
the
I
Bush
had to
record.
guess, there was 100 tapes in there.
Wow, that is
Damn.
impressive.
Yeah. And VHS is a media that goes back
Yeah.
20, 30 years.
Yes.
So this is an old ass box of porn. So this isn't a new
This is Ron Jeremy in his prime.
Syndrome
Literally
that's
that
coming
scene
up,
from
right?
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah,
Maybe-
that's a lot of Bush in those tapes. I
Hey, I
guarantee
got a big
you.
box of porn for you.
Yeah.
But then at the same, so then I was wrestling with, do I tell her what I found, or do I leave it where I found it, knowing that the people
Somebody
from her
else.
church are coming in behind me to
Oh,
help clean out the house also.
Did What if on the off chance she knew? Because there is.
Then it's just awkward for
There is.
everybody.
Yeah, that's. You get an awkward. There's because there is an aspect where.
I'm not going to be the one to tell her that her dead husband was a porn addict.
Yeah, 100%. And that might not. Maybe he wasn't an addict. Maybe he was just a collector.
100 VHS says you're an addict.
But that might be. It might have been a couple's exercise that they engaged in together.
But then I would have imagined that she would hide it prior to.
I don't know. Some people.
Me digging around in her basement.
Yeah.
Tapes, that's...
Just put a bunch of Disney
Well,
stickers
I only had
on that
access
shit.
to the basement. I didn't have access to like bedroom or
Yeah, so
attic or
that's-
anything. She could have moved that shit if
Yeah.
she knew about it. So.
Well, some people don't have shame. I.e.
Carol
me.
does.
There's also the
Yeah,
fact
that's-
that you got people. People tend to be hoarders. They get older. They don't know where everything
Dude, the
is.
first porn I ever watched was a VHS tape.
First porn I ever watched was squiggly lines.
Oh yeah, Skin of
Channel
Pearls, yeah.
93 or whatever.
Eric
back
and
in
I-
cable.
Eric and I did that
Channel
downstairs. Yeah, it was Channel 70. We saw a fuzzy boob. We got so freaked out.
Yeah, tits in
I
a
think-
snowstorm.
Yeah, we turned fucking Aladdin back on or something.
Yeah, it was like you had
weird.
you had the upper channels where like the signal got steadily worse.
Yeah,
the farther
but
went
you
up.
could see it
Then you get
clear
to
as
channel
day.
70, and it's like you just see this vague outline.
It was the clearest fuzzy boob I've ever seen in my life.
You know, there was a time. Well, I don't remember the year. I'm sure I could Google it real quick once I know the story. But Cartoon Network accidentally cut to porn for like 5 minutes once.
I
Back in the
haven't
day.
heard of this.
Oh God!
Oh, my.
Thank you, Cartoon Network.
It's like
But-
in Fight Club.
Oh God!
He talks about his job.
and it cuts.
He splits a single frame.
Eric and
into
I
a
were watching
fucking
that, there's-
Disney movie.
Yeah, there's just a
They show it at the end.
an
in the
uncircumcised,
credits roll.
flaccid penis, and Eric and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, "Was that?" We're not going to rewind it. But that's fucking crazy.
They do
Almost
that
to
at
the day.
credits. They don't show it. in the
15
actual
years ago,
movie.
February 7th, 2008, Comcast cut away.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Cartoon Network themselves, cut away from Cartoon Network in the Nashville, Tennessee area and showed porn for over an hour.
Dude, that is awesome.
It's like when
In the top comment, disgruntled employees are no accident.
oh yeah, it's like when you see clips of like the news anchors or the weather guy. Just like thinks they're not rolling.
Oh,
And
news bloopers are the
Ace.
best.
It's like, what the fuck?
Dude, news. You had the guy in
think they're
Mississippi
doing a taping, but
that
they're
had the
actually
fly
live.
in his mouth or whatever, and he was like, "Son of a fucking bitch!" And, dude, that one is one of the funniest ones. The
The one where he's like, I'd fuck her.
oh my,
You know you
God,
fucker.
he got
Yeah.
fired.
I'd fuck her right in the.
He got.
Of course he got
He got
fired.
That was actually, I think that one was
They
Nashville
cut
too.
back to him and he's giving
But
shit to
he
some
did it.
guy.
He
that's
did one
like-
of these. He said, "Fuck right in the pussy."
Yeah.
And then it was, yeah, they were like, "You're
Cut
on,"
back-
and he was like,
That
"Ah."
lady's face, she was fucking
Dude,
horrified.
that was yeah.
Oh,
News
God.
bloopers are absolutely amazing. The one chick was I just watched one, and it was actually a New Zealand or Australia or something. But she's like, yeah, the Rams versus the San Francisco 69ers, and the male anchor next to her, he kind of looked up and he goes, "The what?"
The wall.
And she goes, "The San Francisco 69ers," and he goes, "Oh, I don't think that's right." And they cut over to the weather guy, and the weather guy hands on his knees laughing so fucking hard. And they were like, "All right, back to the anchors." And they're like 12 feet apart, you know? How they fucking do the news anchors. But she's like, "Oh, the 49ers, sorry." And he was like, "That was already done."
You said it twice.
That reminds me of when I think I was in elementary school and we took a trip to the local news channel and we got to see the guy. He was, filming a segment or whatever, the local news anchor.
Yeah.
And he stood up and he was wearing a suit, right? But he had like Bermuda shorts on underneath. And I thought, oh my God, you never see their bottom half when
Yeah.
you're behind the desk. So he's wearing something comfortable underneath. And up top, it was like a suit and stuff,
Yeah.
and he looked all professional. And then down below was like shorts. I was like, I never thought of it.
Like you saw a cool secret or
Yeah.
something.
I had a friend in college that told me about. He was on a base over in the Middle East, and he would do guard duty out front. And he said there was this low wall in front of him, and so he said a lot of days, he's just out there in like a tank top and shorts or whatever with his rifle, standing guarded. But they had a general come through,
Oh god.
and they were told about it ahead of time. So he kitted from the waist up. And he said the general came by and he saluted, and he's just sitting there, and like if you were looking from behind the wall, he's just saluting the general with no pants on.
Or he's wearing like a jockstrap or something. It was bare ass.
He's in like boxers or
Oh
something.
god. That shit's fucking hilarious.
Oh god, I've heard so many funny stories from. There's quite a few people I interacted with throughout college that were ex-military.
I was in the Navy for 28 days.
I know you told me.
So
The peanut butter ball.
one of the really funny things that happened, so after I got kicked out, you don't just leave right away, right? They separate you. So I was in separations for several weeks before I actually went home. And while I was in separations, which was like a whole other building, they called us drugs and thugs because those people got kicked out for fighting and people who were on drugs.
Well, you guys got kicked out before you officially went to boot, right?
No, it was the third day of boot.
Oh, okay.
It was like the 7th day of boot when the piss test came back, but it was the 3rd day of boot that I failed the actual piss test.
Okay.
Not the one on the first day, not the one at MEPS. I passed all those.
Passed.
I ran out of multivitamins.
And what'd you score on your ASVAB too?
97.
Okay, so he was very high. 97 is like.
So I was already a
Apparently.
section leader.
No, yeah, like
I was a section
Normal.
leader. Yeah, I was.
people don't go in like it's pretty hard to obtain that score. And then like not have them look at you and be like, "Are you sure you don't want Air Force?" Like because
Right. Because I was already going to be a section leader in my division, because they had us out, I don't know what the fuck they call it. We were all standing out there like at attention or whatever, and he was looking for, the petty officer told us, he said, "I'm looking for section leaders, and I want the smartest."
yeah,
So he said, "Everyone raise your hand, and if you scored less than 70, put your hand down." And like half the hands go down, and eventually he got to like 82, and I was the only one out of like, I don't fucking remember how many people, 50, 100 people. I was the only one who still had my hand up, and he was like, 85, 86, and he comes marching over to me, and he's like, "Seriously, what the fuck did you score?" And I said, 97. He's like, "You're my section leader."
you're it.
But all that entailed was he put me at the other end of the building and put all the dummies around me.
Yeah,
And he like pulled me aside the one day and he was like, "Because you're not a dummy, I'm gonna put all the idiots with you." He didn't call them idiots, he used the R word. Like, R word. He said, "I'm gonna put all these guys around you and you're going to be like a mini petty officer
Yeah.
for me. You're going to help them not fuck up."
controlling a bunch of 70s is
It
gonna
was
be fucking hard.
simple. No,
Oh, it was easy.
30s, dude.
30s.
30s. It was simple shit. They would tell you, so you had to stamp your name on all your clothes. They would say, "Lay your shirt down flat with the front of your shirt facing you. Literally touch the top button, go 4 inches to the right and 2 inches down, and put the top left corner of your stamp there." That's literally idiot proof. And these fucking kids, they're fucking stamping their forehead and back here.
Yeah, dude,
It was brutal.
Jesus.
But to get back to the story, once I had gotten kicked out, I was in separations, and somehow, I don't even remember how it happened, I was in charge of doing the laundry for the entire building, which meant, for whatever reason, I got special privileges. I got to cut in line, I was the first to go get food and stuff. It was like
Damn.
this unwritten rule that the laundry PO got special benefits. I don't know, maybe because I was dealing with 100 dudes, dirty-ass underwear, I got to eat first or whatever. Somehow I got put in charge of the laundry, so I was... what did they do? Somebody fucked up and everybody was supposed to swap the deck, meaning we were just supposed to mop. For no reason, just fucking mop. It was like a punishment. Well, I got to skip that because I was in charge of laundry, so I was like, it was almost like when you're in school and you don't have a hall pass.
Yeah.
I was out walking around.
at large.
Yeah, without a hall pass. And these dudes stopped me. So in the Navy, there's different color, like uniforms. officers wear tan. Everybody, the lower,
Yeah.
regular people, like recruits and stuff, they wear blue. And these guys were wearing tan, and they like accosted me. They were like, "What the fuck are you doing out?" And I was like trying to explain to him that I'm the laundry PO. I'm in charge of laundry. I'm just going to do the laundry and stuff like that. But I kept referring to him as, I forget which is higher, which one I got wrong. I kept calling him Lieutenant. And because I hadn't learned the ranks and the insignias yet. And I was like, "Lieutenant, I'm the laundry PO, Lieutenant." And the other guy was getting like red in the face, and he's like, "He's a fucking chief. You need to refer to him as chief." And I was like, I was mortified. I thought they were going to murder me because there was nobody around. And that's one of the big no-nos in the military is to get their insignia or rank wrong. And that's like the ultimate disrespect.
Spitting in their face. Yeah.
And I did it probably 10 times before the other guy stopped me and blew me up about it. And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I'm going to die."
I've looked those up before. You really gotta like study those.
It's fucking hard. Yeah.
It's so easy to be like, "Oh yeah, that's a colonel," and then you fucking just forget.
Basically, if you see the lines, you're fine. If you see anything goofy above that, you need to fucking.
When you're there, it's your whole life.
Yeah.
So for those however many days, I think it was day 10. I want to say that I actually got kicked out. Those 10 days, I mean, I still my handwriting. I'm not doing it there, but a lot of the times my handwriting is still what I learned in those fucking 10 days because they drill it into you so hard.
Everything's about breaking. They break you. And then
You're not talking sports. You're not talking politics. You're not talking nothing about what they're telling you. So I could see how, by the end of boot camp, I would have learned all of the little insignias and ranks and shit like that.
You know what's funny too? On the same side as the military, however many people you meet in the military, like if I meet somebody that was in the military, I assume they know a lot about guns, right? Or they know they have their fair share. That's actually not true. I've actually met a lot of people recently that I'm like, we get on the subject of guns or something, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to buy an AR." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. What's
an
up?"
Assault rifle?
Yeah, don't get me started. But I was like, "Okay, what's your twist rate on that barrel?" And they're like, "My what?" And I'm like, your twist rate. Well, no, most people that,
to be fair,
that know ARs know a twist
military,
rate.
like,
no, because I'm not even talking about, like, you don't have to be a fucking armorer in the Army or Marines or anywhere to fucking know that shit. But, and I'm talking, like, people that the only time they've used a firearm is to qualify for whatever, pre-MEPS or anything before they go to their, or I forget what it's called. Because you go to boot and then you go to ASC. What I don't
fucking know. I didn't get out of boot.
But they go to their job specific training, and that's the last time that they've ever handled a firearm. And it's kind of crazy to me, like, because then, and the opposite of it, I have a friend that never knew firearms. Never. In high school, we would go shooting. He wouldn't want to go. He was, blah, blah, blah. And then he joined the Marines. And now I could call him right now and be like, what was your MOA that you fucking registered with or you tested with in boot with open sights? And he could tell me right fucking now because he knows everything there is to know about in H&K.
I feel like
AR, M1A.
If you ask these questions of a Marine, they're probably going to know all of the answers.
That's fair. But the other Marine
Army
I met,
up until like maybe 10, 15 years ago, because I feel like everything's moving up, like at least Army-wise, like automated, like drone strikes and shit like that. They might have to use their guns too much anymore in the future.
But I know Marines is every Marine is a rifleman.
Yeah.
But on the same spectrum as that, I did meet a Marine who cannot tell. He can point to the end and go, "This one goes boom, and this is where you load it." That's it. That's all he fucking knows.
I'm not.
But then again, some of them can tell me twist rate and shit.
I wouldn't be.
If you get less than like a 70 on your ASVAB, they're like, "Okay, you got to go to the Marines."
So
it's not that.
I scored.
I wouldn't.
I scored outside the job that I wanted. That's what killed me because I didn't know. I thought if you scored a certain point, you could choose from every job at that level and below, and that's not true. I scored a 90, and the job that I wanted got bumped out because I scored too high. Nice. So I was like, "Fuck, can I take it again?" And he's like, you want to take
high
it
on your IQ test so you can't be a cop.
Exactly.
That's a common thing.
So he was like,
What? Yeah.
I asked him, I said, can I take it
Christ.
again? And purposely missed some because I only had 2 jobs that I wanted, and I scored outside. I
Who
guess
did
too
you
good.
talk to though? Were you talking to like Army or?
No, I took the ASVAB for the Marines.
Okay. Because in the
Which
Navy,
was-
I had my pick of any job that I wanted.
Yeah.
What I wanted was nuclear. The only thing that prevented me from getting nuke was my history, like with law enforcement. So they give you this sheet, and they're like, any ticket or criminal anything,
Disclose it.
disclose it.
Yeah.
So I was like, fucking okay. So I had like 3 pages of fucking parking tickets and speeding tickets.
This brings
and
up another
stuff.
point. Continue.
And the guy at, I don't think it was MEPS, I think it was the recruiter's office, he was like, I've never seen so many, like, tickets and stuff like this. He was like, you're either, like, serious trouble with authority, which I lied, because obviously I do, or you're super honest. And I was like, well, the thing said any ticket.
Yeah, list them all.
Literally, it even says including parking tickets. So I did them all. This is what you told me to do. I guess everybody else
That's
hides
the thing.
shit
It's like
that.
you're super honest. But you have a problem with authority.
Fuck you,
It
not
was-
getting the
it
job
was
you
both.
want. And then you're at a severe disadvantage too if you live somewhere that actually issues parking tickets, because like if you live in a small town,
Yeah.
no one's going to give you parking tickets. You were from, where you're from is a big city, plus rural all around it. So, or what I would consider somewhat of a big city.
50,000 people is not that big.
The point I want
I
to
always looked at it more as
the
like
point
it was the
I want
size
to
of
bring
Canada.
up is that's becoming a problem in the military. Stupid shit like speeding tickets and whatnot
Yeah.
is weeding out a lot of people that would be otherwise capable applicants.
What's the
for
criteria?
Specialized jobs like pilots and whatnot.
Yeah.
The Air Force has been low on pilots for fucking 10 years now.
Well,
And a big part of that is because, and the thing is, like, there's a battle between do we lower the standards and whatnot. It's like, okay, you probably, in that role, you probably shouldn't lower the standards. But if your standards are based on your fucking parking tickets, okay, you created this problem and you get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah.
So that, like,
and that's what I've heard about the Air Force
That's-
is anybody can get in, but not everybody's going to make it super far.
it,
Like you're going to make more money, but you're
you
not going to
can
make.
There's a lot. Okay, you got 20
Colonel.
speeding tickets. Okay, if you buckle down and we put you through training, you could very well be a very capable pilot.
Well, yeah, I don't know how speeding tickets would stop you from being.
But there's a
able
lot
to-
of stupid ass criteria. Like, you hear things about like the Army won't take you if you're flat footed and shit like that. It's like, are you fucking-
that's like Vietnam, but yeah.
Come on. But the thing is, I pick on the Air Force because I know I've seen articles for 10 years now that say, oh, there's shortage of pilots. Yeah, well, no shit, asshole.
They're kind
Okay,
of
are you
shortage of
really
everything.
looking at what people's capability is, or are you disqualifying them over stupid
So
shit?
I know at some point when I was looking at joining
I'm not for
the
lowering
Air Force,
I'm not for lowering the standards, but when your standards are based on just superfluous,
yeah,
irrelevant bullshit,
Yeah.
it's like
Who gives a shit
you've
about
created
parking
this problem. Okay.
the Air Force was offering like $10,000 signing bonuses, $5,000 sign-on bonuses and shit, and
seen
like the
50.
Army and Marines who I was talking to at that time, they were like, "Oh, we'll get you 1,000. We'll get you 2,000 in moving expenses."
Mine
but
was.
It wasn't really
Mine
that
was going to
much.
be 8,000.
Yeah, so that's
seen
that's
50.
pretty fucking high.
But I signed up for the
Rec-
max. It would have been 6 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Recently, I seen 50. The Army was offering 50.
Yeah.
50K. But that's because their recruitment's so fucking low right now.
But yeah,
Yeah, it really is. It's gotten
it's because
bad.
that's not the. It's not really the move to make anymore. Like I talked to Dad. Our dad was in the Navy, right? And I asked him. I said, "Why?" And I wanted some like patriotic, wholesome fucking answer. And I was like, "Why did you join the Navy? Around the time that you did, which was Vietnam and stuff. So
Oh, really?
may or may
How old's
not
your
have seen
dad?
shit. 65,
66.
What year was he born?
56.
56.
Okay. My dad was born in 51. My dad was in the Navy. He was in Vietnam, too.
Yeah. So he's Vietnam.
Dad wasn't in Vietnam.
He was in Vietnam
He
era
was right out.
served.
Yeah. Vietnam
It's still what
era,
they call it. But so, and I asked him, I said, why'd you join? Thinking he was going to be like, I had buddies that were going, blah, blah, blah. We wanted to go. And he just told me, he said that was the thing to do after high school. Well, I was like, for real? He's like, sometimes it was the thing to do in high school.
Going to college or going to...
Well, back then, you got to think it was a very different time. You know, we
He's
grew
like, shit,
up,
they took care of you? Yeah.
Mitch, how old were you?
22.
So we all grew up in the era. We all grew up in the era of like trades or college, right? Well, like back in Dad's day, it was the military was like a third of that. It was like, well, you go to the military or college. Yeah. And like not a lot of, especially men, not a lot of men went to college back then in the 70s. It just did. If you were gonna be like a scientist or an engineer, you went to college. Anything else, it was like military was a good start because you ended up, you know, branching off into trades and shit. A lot of the specialized training that you got in the fucking military.
But it's funny.
So it was like it was a much bigger thing. Like you probably had.
It was an easy decision for him.
You probably had 7 out of 10 men going into the military.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Most of your graduating class.
We grew up in the generation where that wasn't the case.
And that was
college was supposedly a lot more accessible.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing,
and that was post the time that, you know, the higher where most of the male graduating class was joining up to, you know, go fight, you know, communism in Asia and stuff.
A war going on at the time.
Yeah,
you know.
and it's more whether we were in war or not. They were just doing it because that was the thing to do.
Well, my grandpa had 4. Well, he had 5 sons. One they put in a home because he was mentally retarded, but the other 4 all went in the military.
Yeah.
Army and Navy, I think, all of them.
And when you think about it, you know, I mean, shit gets paid for. You get a warm bed to sleep in. You get meals. You know,
it used to be
paid somewhat. You get
so I wasn't in the Navy very long, but I thought that shit was easy. Because you see on TV and shit, like, obviously Army and Marines are going to be different because the drill instructors are going to fucking get in your face. Yeah. The Navy, it was a lot less chill. Like when we got off the bus, they harped on us a little bit, but I thought, I don't know if I'm fucking like semi-autistic or whatever, but being told explicitly how to do things, I was like, oh my god, this is so easy. There's no gray area. It was dummy proof, I thought. And they were like, do this exactly this way, do this exactly this way. And I thought it was easy as shit. The whole time I was there, I never got yelled at once. That's not true.
I had a friend who...
I got yelled at once because I rolled the bill of my cap a little bit. They wanted it straight.
Oh.
That was it. And then I was like, oh, okay, I straightened it out. I never got yelled at again.
I had a friend after high school who he was working through some legal shit. Like, he had gotten in trouble or whatever. He was trying to get into, like, the reserves for the Marines or the Army or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the reserve units or whatnot. And he still had to... When he got all his shit cleared up and finally went in, I think... He was like, I'm trying to remember when this was. He was probably 20. I think I was 22 at the time. And so he got everything cleared up and he was getting ready to go in. He started to go like through boot and all that. So he had, you know, he left for his 8 weeks or whatever. And when he came back, the fucking stories he told me, you know, he kind of like what you said, you know, you're told what to do. You just straighten up, follow instructions and whatnot. And he was perfectly fine. Yeah. He said you wouldn't believe the fucking stupid assholes in his unit and just the stupid fucking shit. Like, it's the shit he told me. It was amazing that those human beings lived as long as they
made
did.
It that far.
It blows you away.
Let alone they give you guns.
He was talking how they were all standing in line at attention or whatnot, and like two guys down from him just started pissing. He goes, and he was. My friend was mad. Like, he was mad about it. He was angry about just how fucking stupid people were. And just the stupid, inhumane shit that people did to themselves, basically.
Yeah.
When I was at
kind of put it in perspective a little bit.
The MEPS is the Military Entry Processing Station or whatever. It was up in Minneapolis. And they bus you up there, or they fly you up there, I forget, whatever. And then from there, you get... So you'll have all the branches up there. Army, Navy, Air Force, I don't know, maybe like Coast Guard or whatever. And then from there you get disseminated to your, you know, boot camps or whatever they might call it. In the area at least. But at MEP, so I was like intermingling with people from other branches of the military. The one night we were up there was a group of like 4 of us. There was a girl, I think she was going in the Army. And there was this black dude that I don't know, somehow I hooked up with him and we were cool, and we all decided to, it was fucking stupid. We decided to stay up and drink all night. I don't even know how we got our hands on a bottle of liquor, but we thought, oh, it's our last night, whatever, you know, we'll have fun. And then I got maybe like an hour of sleep, and then you go to boot camp, and they don't let you sleep the first night, and I had no idea. So now I was on 2 nights of no sleep.
48 hours, fucking seeing
zombie.
space. Yeah. Holy shit.
I'm pretty sure I had another like point or anecdote to bring up.
It's alright, we're at 110.
Well, it's funny because I told you the other day about how whatever we have Mitch here. Might as well make use of the time. There's been so many people like even jokingly, but like it surprises me how many people you talk to that were like in the Marines and the Army and whatnot. They're like, I should chose a fucking Air Force.
Dude,
And
okay.
I'm always kind of like
Almost
I'm always
every
kind of
Marine I
humbled by
know
them
said
because
that.
I'm like, you fucking got through it. You did it. You did it.
You know who doesn't say that, though?
You could. I fully believe that even if you had a guy who's like 55 and was a Marine, it's like he could go through the whole fucking thing again if he had to.
Well, I know people that were laterals, so they did their 4 years in the Marines, then they actually joined the Army, or the Air Force. But a lot of them moved from Marines to Army. A lot of the Marines saying, "I wish I would have done Air Force." A lot of the Army people are like, "I'm good." Like, I don't know what it was. They said they would have based on the money.
There's also that video of where they show the Marine Corps drill instructors versus the Army drill sergeants.
Yeah.
Well, even though
And the Army drill sergeant's like, yeah, I really want to, be a mentor for these young men and whatnot. And he's over there showing them how to like fold everything and get everything perfect and whatnot. And then they cut to the Marine Corps drill instructor, and he's like, and he's fucking just throwing his limbs around.
You fucking motherfucker.
You can't even tell what he's saying. He's just fucking screaming and throwing his arms around and shit like that. It's like, Jesus.
They're crazy.
red in the face.
Jesus.
Well, even the very again. So I keep trying to sound like I have this vast experience. I was literally there for fucking 2 weeks or whatever. But in the short period of time I was in boot camp, there was a running joke that everybody else, Navy, Army, Marines, everybody, when they go on marches and stuff, like you're marching, and that the Air Force is like riding bicycles because it's so fucking easy. The physical
They call it
toll,
the chair force.
Yeah, the physical toll is much, much less than the Air Force, but you do have to be very smart. My Uncle Chris was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
He was a pilot in Vietnam and shit.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty smart dude, I think.
Well, I remember telling Dad, like, remember I was flirting with going to OCS and whatnot?
Yeah.
That was kind of out of desperation. I didn't really know what to do.
OCS for the Air Force for you? That's how you get
Navy.
to. Well, the Navy. That's how you get to.
But anyway,
astronaut like you wanted to.
No, Space Force now.
I
remember
you saw them uniforms.
I remember telling Dad that I was flirting with that idea and whatnot. And his eyes lit up, and he's like, "Good, don't be in all the fucked up shit that I was in." I'm like, "What?" And he didn't elaborate. He just walked away. I was like, "What?"
Dad saw some shit though. Like he said, he won't tell us. Like he'll
I'd
probably
rather
carry that
be
shit
up
to
there
his
with them
grave.
instead of all the fucked up shit I was in. I was
Yeah.
like, "Wait, what?"
And I thought to myself, I'm like, Nam during Nam in the Navy. Like, what the fuck did he see?
I think more of his bad experiences with the Navy came from stupid people.
People fucking up. People
I think it
walking
came
off
from
deck and
stupid,
shit like
fucked
that.
up shit that had to deal with people, not
People on his
being
side
in combat.
too.
And
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And
You get a grandpa that used to blow up trenches on fucking the beaches.
Bridges.
Blow up bridges, yeah.
yeah, Grandpa used to blow up bridges.
Europe.
We had the other Grandpa that flew blimps over the North Atlantic
Yeah.
to keep the Russians out. Yeah, Dad served on the Nimitz.
Yeah, we got a long list of military lineage, and yet Eric and I
Our complete
never
fuck ups.
joined. Yeah, I tried to be a state highway patrolman. That didn't work out.
You did.
Yeah,
Damn, I don't remember.
I
what
never
ship
pulled the
my dad was
trigger.
on.
I took the ASVAB, and I was literally knocking on heaven's door. About to be a Marine. And,
What'd you get on the ASVAB?
90.
That's not 97.
Well, it's also not the Navy, bro. It was a 90 for the Marines might be like a Navy.
Oh, you were
72.
probably immediately going to be like E4 in the
Well, dude,
fucking
I
Marine.
did. The guys looked at me and they were like, "What the fuck?" They were like, "What job did you want?" And then I think I took a practice. I took a practice for the
Crayon
Army.
dispenser.
Yeah, I took a practice for the Army and I got an 88. And they were like, what job do you want? And I was like, 11X, which was infantry, able to go airborne and stuff. And they were like, nah, you can't do that with an 88. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. So, getting back to that story, I was talking about MEPS. The black dude from the Army that I had palled around with that night we were there, God, I wish I remembered his name, but I think he scored like a 38 or something.
Oh, jeez.
But
It's surprising how low those
you can still get in.
Yeah.
The cutoff,
Yeah.
I think the cutoff is like literally 70.
Like,
for the
sign
name.
your fucking name. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can get chits or whatever to
Yeah.
exemptions or whatever, you know, so
Yeah.
you can get in. This guy he scored a fucking 38. And he wasn't
Infantry.
dumb.
No,
Like,
I
I
mean,
interacted with
you
him. I
had
hung
to
out with
have
him all
known
night.
I've known people that have had assault charges against them and shit like that, and they still get in the
Oh,
Marines.
yeah,
Like,
there's-
just not. It.
What held me back with the Marines was I needed an exemption or whatever they called it for my knee because I had metal in my knee,
Yeah.
and then for my weight because I was never going to make their BMI chart was like
Did you have tattoos?
barbaric.
Because you would have needed one for any tattoos.
I don't think I had. Yeah, I had the tattoo. So I needed too many of the exemptions. You couldn't have any metal in your body, and I had metal in my knee, and the tattoos, and then the weight. So I think they were talking about like doing this and that, and they were like, "Oh, can you?" They were like, "Can you get down to 162 pounds?" I was like, "No, dude." And I was like, I weighed that
Well,
in
you-
7th grade.
I mean, yeah, you look at the charts and shit.
That's what they
like,
go by. Barbaric, absolutely barbaric.
Well, like for my height or whatever, it's like my non-overweight weight is like 172.
it's gross.
It's like-
yeah,
Remember when I was doing all the fasting and shit?
yeah.
The lowest I got down to was 180. I was
Yeah, no,
like,
they
fuck
wanted me to
man.
weigh-
And
I
I was
was-
starving myself for 3 months.
I was at like 245, and they were like, "Can you get to 162?" And I was like, "No, there's no way I can." They're like, "All right, well, it's waivers. Waivers is what they called it." So they were like, "Can you get we can do waivers for your weight. We can do waivers for your metal, but we can't do a third waivers." And I was like, "Well, I'm not getting my tattoos removed, and I can't get the metal removed." So I was like, "And I can't weigh 162
See, that's the thing that-
pounds."
that's the thing
So
that
then
makes
I
me-
went to Army and
What I was talking about
shit
earlier
too.
about superfluous requirements and bullshit like tattoos. Like a tattoo is what's the problem with tattoos?
Well,
I can
I
understand
think-
if you have face tattoos or what. There's an element of professionalism.
It's
or
gotta
even,
be-
even if you're in the military, there might be an element of diplomacy there because you might be dealing with people from other countries.
It
it
couldn't
was-
be 3 inches from your elbow.
Yeah,
or
it was something
like that.
If it was
Just-
visible wearing the service uniform, then
Yeah.
you needed
But
a chip
now-
or exemption or whatever.
Okay.
Nowadays, that
That
shit's
makes
changed
sense.
because
They
guys,
probably don't care. They're like,
Yeah,
yeah, you
guys
guys
can
can
have
teardrops,
sleeves.
whatever. Sign the paper.
the face
Not
Here's
tattoo.
your box of
teardrops, but,
crayons.
like if I got a tattoo on like my if I got a tattoo on my wrist or whatever, it's not covered by the uniform. But is that going to inhibit my ability to be a pilot?
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
And the Air Force is bitching if they don't have enough pilots.
they were very
Jesus fucking
There
Christ.
were
man.
arbitrary rules from way back in the day.
There was actually who was it?
So is the BMI chart.
wasn't
'cause you
Jordan
can't go
Peterson.
by that with people's modern
It
body
wasn't-
types.
It wasn't Jordan Peterson. I think it was Andrew Huberman. He's a neuropsychologist, neuroscientist or something. He brought up the point that like, remember how I said earlier, like I've known people that have had assault charges and been runs
Oh, yeah.
with the law, and the Marines still take them and whatnot. He brought up a very good point of like, you want some psychopaths in the military.
To a certain degree, yes.
Yeah, you want those kinds of people because that's your military force, right?
I don't want to be deployed with those people, but yes, you want those people on your side to a
but,
certain
you know,
degree.
when you're going to war, you
Yeah.
kind of want.
You also want the people that can
When-
turn it off when you come back stateside too.
That is true.
Basically, anything that would disqualify you from service, you go and talk to someone
Yeah.
and plead your case if you want to join, and then they'll. If they're like, oh, he's not a crazy
They do
person,
what
they'll
they
sign
can,
off
yeah.
on you or whatever.
My list was just too long. Like it was, if you take away the knee surgery I had, maybe it would have been a different story.
Knees are they don't fuck around with knees much.
I know, but then you also had the reason I pulled from everything was because I started dating my now wife. So that was a big. If I started this whole process when I was single, and like fuck it, I'm ready to go, and then I got into a committed relationship, so that did sway me. But
So basically, if it weren't for Rachel, you'd be like a rear admiral right now.
no, I'd be a senior chief with bad knees and
You'd
a
be
bad
rear
back.
admiral all day.
No,
You'd be like
I probably would have died over there.
Chief Sunday in Men of Honor,
100%.
just a raging alcoholic, fucked up body.
Yeah, with the rest of my generation, I would be dead over there. I don't mean to steal your quote. But yeah.
It's a good quote, but I hate using it because
I know, it's so
think
sad.
it disparages people.
It's wrong. But
there's been numerous times
it's also
during my employment.
It would carry more weight if we served, I think.
There's been numerous times during my employment where I'm just frustrated beyond belief, and I'm like, fuck it, I should have just died in Afghanistan with the rest of my generation.
That swings for the fences so hard.
But
like
I don't like using that because I've worked with people who have been in the shit,
and our worst day over here can't hold a
I've
candle
worked with
to what
numerous
they've done,
people
woken up
that
to over
have
there.
been in various stages of the shit.
Yeah.
Some people who weren't, some people who...
Which is a good time to shout
Right,
out the
situations.
respect we have for everybody who did serve and has seen shit. I know a lot of stuff we're talking about
That's
here
why
is
I
going to
hate-
hit home for people.
That's part of why I hate politicians so much.
Yeah.
And, I've had people that, or I've gotten close to people who have been in situations where they're like, this is it, and then other people where that was really all they knew. Like, they've been in a lot of situations where it was like, this is it.
I do know one or two guys that coming out, they were scared because they didn't know what they were going to do because what they were doing in was the only thing that they knew. And that's kind of, that's a topic for another day.
There's a lot of...
Getting
Same
that,
thing.
There's a lot of bad
Yeah.
after effects.
well, not just that, like
It's not just...
getting in so early, because there is talk of, you know, some countries do it where you do have mandatory time served, but you go through other stuff before you get to that. Meaning, what's Taiwan? Taiwan, you have to, once you reach a certain age, which I think is 21 or 22, you have to serve a mandatory amount of time in their nation's military in one of the branches. But the reason they do it at 21 and not 18 is because they want you to develop and then do some sort of schooling before you do it. And I think that's actually a pretty good idea. I'm not saying that America needs to move to a mandatory serving, but allowing people to not join at 18 and to join later on
A
would
lot
be
of those countries,
beneficial.
a lot of those countries that do that mandatory service for every male or whatever, you're not necessarily. They use their military for a lot of social, industrial.
Police, yeah.
A lot of social and industrial functions, right?
International.
It's like you had a friend. Remember, he was down on the southern border building roads. You know,
yeah,
these
A
countries,
guy out west that was
other
doing the
countries
same thing.
tend to use their military for more diverse applications than
Yeah,
what we do.
military doesn't carry the connotation like it does for
Yeah.
serving
So
like us today.
when you end up basically
Or
conscripting
the Corps of
everybody,
Engineers.
Yeah,
yeah,
which is an option for, I think, after you put so much time in.
yeah. So
But they have locations everywhere.
yeah, it's not just combat. It's
Yeah. It's a
basically
nice
keep
option.
the machine oiled, keep the country going.
Because I'm not
provide
saying
service wherever they can.
straight out of high school to military isn't the worst idea, but I think I know plenty of people that did high school, college, then military, and had better experiences because of not just being advanced in age, but
Well,
they got to carry on. You know, they were higher rank going in because of a college degree or college credit obtained, and it just kind of shaped their experience in the
Yeah,
military.
that's how I did it. I went to college, got kicked out. Went to the Navy, got kicked out.
Yeah, you were batting 1,000.
Yeah.
but it goes back to the whole development thing. You know, we know now that most people aren't fully developed until they're 25.
Yeah.
And that was the spat I was telling you about. Thomas Massey got in with Jerry Nadler over that about
Yeah.
the age of conscription and shit, and they were arguing over it was conscription versus something else, and
Well,
Thomas was like, well, if we know people aren't developed until later into their 20s, why did we conscript people at 18?
yeah. The article I read was actually directly linking the amount of PTSD when you get confirmed that you have PTSD, linked with early, joining the military early on. So like straight out of high school, going into like something like infantry or anything, and then getting out with PTSD or confirmed PTSD. What's that called? When the doctor says that you have something. I'm blanking on the fucking word. Diagnosis. So diagnosed PTSD directly linking to how young you were when you joined or before that 25 where your brain is fully developed. So there's a direct correlation with that too, which I thought was it's a very interesting article. But they were saying that people that were waiting, going to college a little bit, then joining, not necessarily OCS, but joining and being around that 25, 26 when they see shit, or they were having less diagnosis with PTSD.
Because that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting correlation to that. Which makes sense. The younger you are, the less you develop your mind is. You see fucked up shit. You go through fucked up shit. Your mind's not going to be able to perceive it and deal with it. Therefore, PTSD.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think once you get like into your 30s and 40s, you're just kind of hard. You're You're a little mentally hardened.
You can
to things.
You can deal with things better.
Yeah.
I'll say post 26.
It makes me think of the Spartans. Because they'd have guys serve up until like they were 60.
Well, yeah.
And you think about it, back then,
their way of
back
going
then, right?
was
So
on a
with the
shield.
lifespan being the way it was, and you had 55-year-old men running around with shields and fucking swords, just being like. Yeah,
but they were kind of the opposite, because you're talking about like the Yugobi, like their process of making a
I
soldier
think even,
was at like 10 or 11, which is fucking bonkers.
No, I think I watched a video about this not too long ago. One of the things that stuck out to me is the Spartans. It wasn't until you were like 20 or 22 or something like that you actually served.
But you were going through the process.
I think there's like a myth that
it was
Spartan
later.
Soldiers were like 16, 15 years old when they started doing this.
It was later.
I think they were
it was later.
trained from a very early age to
that was kind of their
go
culture.
into the military.
That was
that
was kind of their culture. If you think about it, like their
culture.
culture was kind of like, man,
We're not just that
very masculine, right? We're talking about ancient times here.
casting out babies that had defects and stuff like that.
They
were pretty
OG.
OG.
Men had a very
hard
masculine
culture.
aspect to their existence or whatnot. But the one thing that stuck out to me was it was later when you actually went into military service. They actually did it later than we do now.
See, I thought it was the training. Yeah, which you could be right too, or I could be right too with the training starting early, but you're not actually, inducted into their military.
Yeah, like it was a part of their schooling or something that they did.
Because I know,
and that was like a cultural thing more than a military thing. They were
military.
They were just kind of engrossed in it. All their. You think you're a 16-year-old Spartan. Every man in your life that you interact with is probably older, probably in the military and whatnot. That was just kind of their culture. That's why they're legendary warriors 2,500 years later, is because of
and we're
that.
still talking about them.
We still talk about
stuff that they did
because that was
must have done
that
something.
Was their culture,
right? Yeah.
but it was funny to me that it was actually later before they were actually conscripted or whatnot. So they did it later than we do now. And,
yeah.
I think, if there's anybody you want to ask for advice on war, it's probably them. So.
Yeah, they'd definitely be up there. But also, they kind of had like a Darwin style
They did. Because
adaptation to their
culture. But you
culture.
think about it in a context of war. What's going to be better? Are you going to be Are you going to be in a wheelchair wheeling battle, or
so if you're casting out the babies that are sickly or
are you going to want the guys that can throw a spear 100 yards?
Yeah, and then the kids that weren't strong enough to make it through the Yugobi or whatever like that they were dying off in that process, made it on to procreate to make the next strong ones.
It wasn't all that cutthroat though. Because a lot of them,
I'm just going by the things that I've read.
They still had a need for merchants, and
teachers and
leadership and politics was a big thing in their culture. So you'd have a lot of guys that there were different classes. I remember there was like 3 different classes or whatnot, but classes of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they would. I gotta go back and watch the video because I'm gonna butcher the shit out of this. But you had other career paths other than the military. But I just thought it was cool. They had, guys that were in their late 50s, and they were like, fuck it, let's go. And they were just like,
let's roll on them!
Like, alright.
Fuck you, Persia!
And honor was a big thing, too.
Yeah.
Honor. It's something that I think we don't grapple with enough nowadays.
Yeah.
It's honor. They were honored to be like, I'm going to go fight for my king, and these guys are encroaching on our land. You think about it, them versus the Persians, it was massive army, scourge of the earth, coming to kill them, and they're like, "Fuck you, man. We're not taking
you 300.
We're not taking your bullshit." Yeah, 300 of them, and fucking.
They did lose.
You don't.
That is lost.
The 300.
They decided
the 300
that before they
lost
started marching.
When they marched against the Persian army, united with Athens and everything, they actually did win, which swatted the Persian army back to
the battle
Carthage.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually the first destruction of Carthage in the Persian culture, which, like Rome, failed 3 times. But
Yeah.
it's the history in us drill right there. Well, we're about an hour 30.
We didn't talk about Art Diorio yet.
No, don't say his name, because I don't want him suing us. I don't know.
He's on our
He's on our list.
No,
He's a
dude.
boomer. He's on our list.
I think my neighbor told me he's like almost 90. So he's like the boomer's boomer. Like,
He won't live out the lawsuit.
but
No, that's the age, isn't it?
90?
Baby boomers were people that were
Probably.
born after
Oh no,
people
actually,
came back from World War II.
90 might be
We're fucking getting close,
the
dude.
generation before boomers.
Yeah, which is the lost generation, right? I don't remember what
There was the silent generation, which I think was
they were all
before
deaf, though, right?
World War II. And then the golden generation, or greatest generation, was World War II.
Which, I mean, I take offense to that a little bit. Like,
I think 90 is the silent generation.
I don't think you should name any generation the greatest generation, because obviously we're the greatest generation.
Well, boomers start in 46, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, boomers would be 46.
Damn near 80 years ago, which is crazy to
So, I
think
mean,
about.
I don't know. This guy might be, I think he said 90.
Yeah, that's definitely
But that's
the
the
one before the generation before.
Yeah, the blind generation or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they're called, but
I don't remember how they're all labeled and whatnot.
well, not all of them aren't still kicking.
I don't know that he is.
I mean,
Because they thought he lived here?
I'm not for generalizations, but
I gotta talk to
boomers
the
keep
neighbor.
coming at us. I'm going to keep going at them. So,
Oh, the boomers are asking for it, though. I mean, they want to stand on their. Yeah, but anyway, Eric, why don't you tell the good people where to find us?
you can find us at Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, Ghana. Video will be uploaded to YouTube and Rumble. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram. Everything is Harm's Way Podcast. If you go to Rumble, though, search by channel. Don't search by video, because you'll never find us.
Never.
Although the last time I sifted through all the videos on Rumble, there were a lot of likes and dislikes that came up.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. We
Nope.
like the feedback, guys.
Every video that I saw, the ratio of likes to dislikes, the worst one was like a 5 to 2 likes to dislikes. Everything else was like 6 to 1.
I did get
3
one
to 1.
comment.
Who the fuck's disliking your video?
Dude, we got one dislike on YouTube.
We've said a lot of offensive shit.
and
I've
it
said
was,
a lot of
I
offensive
forget
shit.
which episode it was, but
There was also the one where I called Dale Earnhardt a white trash asshole, which I know I'm gonna pay for. So
All right, well, I'm gonna dislike that shit.
we did go hard at
I don't like Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt. Not many people do, but that's besides the point.
A lot of people. I mean, when you're the goat of your sport, a lot of people don't like you.
All right, this is Mitch's problem. But yeah, we like the comments. We got a recent comment asking us to talk more about conspiracy theories. So look
Really?
for more of that.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, it's the one guy that comments on our shit. So we'll have that coming more.
Are we
at
talking
you,
real
Casey.
conspiracy theories or
No.
stolen
both.
election conspiracy theories?
Well, we're not gonna touch that one, obviously.
Oh, we might
Just
get
real ones.
we might get a YouTube banner.
Yeah,
We're gonna start collecting them like Pokemon cards.
we're
I always wondered that though. Like, you know, they have one for COVID, and they have one for election bullshit, and they have one for. They have a few of them for politics.
yeah.
I've never seen a video yet where there's been more than one. You know what I'm talking about on YouTube,
Yeah.
the video, the blue banner they put onto the bottom.
Yeah, the ones that label you.
I've never seen a video with more than one. So I'm like, can you collect these fucking things?
I don't know.
Can we talk about every single thing that pisses YouTube off in one fucking video?
don't
I think
really
that
we want
might be a good subject for a video.
to. Community guidelines. But anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Mitch, thanks for being here. I
Thanks
thought it was
for
a
having
very
me.
great show.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we'll be coming at
He's a
you
good
guys.
anchor.
Yeah, it's very good. I like the fact checking ability too with the laptop there. That's dope.
That's a nice thing to have.
Probably
So right here, I'm just googling the person that just texted me. I got a random text from somebody in New Jersey.
you're really. I do that at work all the time.
It's like 856. What is this? 856 area code, New Jersey.
But yeah,
I do
we'll be
that all
coming
the
at you
time.
guys Friday night probably. Give us a like, comment, share. Give us a try. First one's free. Show us some love because you know we got love for you. Anything else, guys?
I've got nothing.
Good night.
Signing off. Goodbye.